Hello and welcome back to The Lion's Den, the only podcast that has repeated topics. I think I used this introduction before. Does it matter? Probably not. But oh well, I try to be a little bit more creative in these introductions. Anyway, I'm your host Matt as always, and I actually have a good topic to talk about, and I've even written out some notes. I'm quite excited, and I'm hoping that it will help settle me in to the groove a bit better and give me some sort of breathing room so that my brain doesn't blank halfway through the episode and I'm just sat there like, what do I say now? Anyway, I want to talk about guitars because I've been watching a bunch of YouTube videos about different guitars recently and I have some interesting thoughts, hopefully, to discuss. So I think as a just funny side note before we start talking about real guitars is that I actually have 3 instruments in my room currently. I have an electric guitar, I have an acoustic guitar, and I also have a ukulele. The ukulele was £25 because I had a voucher to use at my... Americans call them malls. We just call them like shopping centers. The like really big ones with tons of stores. I had a voucher for them for 25 quid. I went to the music store in the place that sold this ukulele for 25 quid and was like, done deal. I've never played it. It sits up on my shelf as just a kind of like nice to look at piece. It is pretty nice to look at. I did play it briefly to be like, oh look, I can play ukulele because it's essentially the same mechanical functions as a guitar. But I just never bothered to learn anything on it. Anyway, just a funny side note, I will probably hang that up somewhere. You know, if I ever get like a proper house, I'll probably just hang it up somewhere just so it looks nice. Anyway, let's start talking about guitars, and let's start with my current obsession, which is electric guitars. Because electric guitars are wild, absolutely wild. You can get an electric guitar in any shape imaginable. If you can think of a shape, somebody's probably made it into an electric guitar, and it's just nuts. The finishes, the shapes, the different styles, the different modifications to them as to whether they've got holes in them and such. Then you've got the whole strings that you put on them, to the pickups that are in them. It's absolutely mental, and it's a lot of information to digest. And the best thing that a lot of people have said from the information I look at is just buy one. Best thing you can do is buy one that you like the look of, because you need to pick it up and play, right? If you're not playing the guitar, it's a waste of money and a wasted opportunity. So make sure you buy one that you think, wow, I love the look at that, let me touch it. I should probably try that the next time I go into a guitar store. The first one that I see that I'm like, I want to grab it, is probably a good indication that it's one I will like. Obviously play it, right? It's got to play well. But yeah. So I've been kind of studying electric guitars. There's this guy on YouTube that I watch who does a full deep dive into tons of different electric guitars. He is a bit more on the Gibson side. He does do Fender guitars, but he is mostly on the Gibson side, which I personally prefer. The Gibson Les Paul shape, I like that, and a lot of the other weird ones. I do quite like a Fender Telecaster as well. That will probably be my next my next guitar to get will probably be a Telecaster, because I love the way that they look. I don't know anything about how they sound, because to me, my untrained ears think all electric guitars sound very similar. But just the way the Telecaster looks, I really, really like that shape. It's very akin to a Les Paul. I think that's why I like it, but it also just has a slight bit of difference to it. So yeah, the guy I watch, he does a lot of very in-depth content. So he'll have a purchased guitar, either brand new or secondhand. He will give some information about it and the history on it. He'll then go and clean it up and make it all really pretty, which is always really satisfying to look at. You get this guitar in and it's got like a layer of grime because it's been played and loved, and then he cleans and polishes it and it just looks stunning. It's so satisfying to see that transformation. He'll then give you a nice little demo of the guitar, and that's just really enjoyable to watch, just to see what's this guitar like and then get the information on it. And it has really showed me a lot of things that I like and don't like about guitars, and I'll use mine as an example to kind of go through what I do and don't like. So I currently own an Epiphone Les Paul 100, at least that's what I think it's called based on the information I can find. I've got it in, I think it's called Heritage Cherry Burst, and I don't like it, I'll be honest. I bought it because it looked really nice and it was a Les Paul, but there are a lot of small things about it that I just don't like anymore. It's one, not very fun to play. I think it really needs a setup, or maybe there's just problems with it that can't be fixed by setting it up. Two, I don't think I was ever really liked the sound of it. Maybe that's just because I have a fairly cheap amp, and obviously it's a fairly cheap guitar, so maybe the sound isn't going to be perfect. But the biggest thing for me, which I didn't realize was a problem, is it doesn't have binding. Now, if you don't know what binding is, essentially it's a strip of material that runs around the edge of the guitar, and it's usually white or black, or sometimes it can be multiple little small layers in different colors. This one doesn't have that, and I'll be honest, I think that really sacrifices the look of the guitar. It just doesn't look good without it. It looks kind of cheap, I won't lie. I've seen guitars that are just solid colors without binding, and they look quite good. Like the literal guitar I have, you can get it in just a solid black, and that looks quite classy. But this, I don't know, there's something about it that I just don't really get on with, and I've never really enjoyed playing it too much. So it's mostly just been sat as a display piece, which is kind of a shame, because I would like to, but I don't know what to do really on it, honestly, when it comes to that. I think the best thing for me would be to take it to a guitar shop and have them take a look at it, see if there's anything that can be done to make it play better. Ultimately, probably look at a trade-in. There is a guitar shop in my city that does do setups and stuff, and they do trade-ins as well, which would be really nice, so I can see if they'll take the guitar and give me some money for it. I think I bought it for around £200. Can't quite remember now because it was a few years back, so I don't know, 100 quid would probably be a reasonable assumption as to what I could get for it in terms of trading. So yeah, we'll look at that. But otherwise, I think I would just look at buying a new guitar, maybe see if I can sell that guitar off to someone, because it's a decent guitar. There's nothing wrong with it particularly, other than it being a little bit tricky to play. But again, that might just be my inexperience. Who knows? Let's now slide on over to acoustic guitars, which is currently what I do a lot of. By a lot of, I mean it's the one that I will pick up and play, because for example, like my guitar amp has not moved from the corner it is sat in currently, and it has not been plugged in a while. I'm kind of scared that if I plug it in it might blow up, because I don't know how guitar amps work. I currently have my acoustic guitar. It's an Ibanez something. I have no idea what the models are when it comes to acoustic guitars. I don't even know what shape it is. It's probably, I think it's called a Dreadnought. It's quite big, but it's still comfortable for me to play. I mean, I'm like average height and body size, so yeah, I guess. I don't know how to explain it. I love this guitar. I loved the way that it sounded when I first got it. I love every time I put new strings on it because it just sounds gorgeous, which is probably just more of a testament to the new strings than anything else. It's a very like classic looking guitar. It's got a darker side and back. It's got a light wood top with a black pickguard, and the headstock, I don't know how you describe the headstock. It's kind of a generic shape. I don't know how to describe it. It's not like squared off. It's not in any weird shape that you sometimes see when people make acoustic guitars in the shape of electric ones. It's just, you think of an acoustic guitar, it's probably got that kind of a headstock on it, and I love it. It's nice to play. I got it professionally set up once at the aforementioned guitar shop, and I love it. I don't really want to sell it. I think I've become very attached to it, which is maybe a good and a bad thing, but you know, it might just become a display piece because it is a cheaper guitar. No idea how much I bought it for, like 100 maybe. So the usability of it is can be called into question. I think I've just gotten adept with getting around its quirks, but it is a good guitar. There's no issue. I think anybody could pick it up and be comfortable playing it, which is a testament to how good it is. And it came from a name brand, like it came from Ibanez, so it's gotta be good, right? It can't be terrible. It's not some random company you've never heard of. I don't know, I've never had any issues with it particularly, like there's no fret sprouting, which is where the frets will start poking off the edge of the fretboard because the wood shrinks and grows, whereas metal doesn't do that. Not had that issue. I don't think there's any issue with the neck, although again I could possibly take to get it set up to see if it needs to be like tweaked a little bit. I'd love it. I really do enjoy acoustic guitars because there's something about the sound of an acoustic guitar that gives you that sort of like warm feeling, and there's also that immediate gratification of you strum the guitar, you fret a few notes, and it makes a lovely, wonderful sound. I think that's why I'm very obsessed with KK Slider. I learned a lot of his songs. Well, I say a lot, but like out of his category of over 100 songs now at this point, I've learnt a fair few of them, and they always sound gorgeous because obviously he's playing guitar and you're playing guitar and it works. So I do very much enjoy doing that. I think as well KK has a certain style of acoustic guitar that I'd be interested in looking at. It's very close to what I've got currently, but there are some differences to it that I've noticed. So whenever I go looking at guitar shops, I do keep my eye out for sort of something that looks a bit similar. I think I took this guitar to said aforementioned guitar shop and said, hey, what would you trade in this guitar? And they said something like 50 quid, which is pretty decent for it considering the caliber of guitar. But honestly, I think I'm at that point now where I won't let it go. It's my baby. It's not my first guitar. I've had 3 acoustics and 2 electrics now. I had an old nylon string acoustic. I then bought a steel string acoustic off the internet, which was horrible. It was so bad that the bridge itself actually started peeling up. Like the glue had failed because I think I kept like obviously tightening the strings and whatnot. Horrible guitar. The fact that I didn't give up using that guitar is incredible. And then I've landed on this one that I've got now currently. And then with my electrics, I had I want to say it was a Squire, but it probably wasn't. It's some form of Stratocaster before sliding onto my Epiphone Les Paul. I think a big issue for me is I just don't know what you play on an electric. Like all of the music I know suits an acoustic guitar, hence why I pick it up and play. I don't know what you play on an electric. Maybe if I had a decent electric that I actually look at and go, yeah, I want to play that, I might learn some more things. Either way, hope you've all enjoyed listening. I hope this has been interesting and has piqued your interest in guitars because they are truly fascinating and there's a lot of facets to them. So anyway, I'm going to get out of here. Stay safe and I'll see you all next week. Bye.